Pa's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you a cool person? CBS's Stephen Kaufman tells us that your answer may have something to do with your age.
Do you consider yourself to still be cool, or have you lost your coolness?
I always thought being cool was not worrying about being cool. You just are.
A new survey from Talker Research found the pivotal age when a person starts to feel uncool is 39, when people start to feel more disconnected with what is currently cool or generally expect to feel out of touch. However, author and lecturer at the University of New Haven, Susan Campbell, stresses individuality.
I think it all comes down to you define your own what is cool and then pursue it.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
Vermont State University's Castleton campus has given a cat named Cat the Max an honorary degree of Doctor of Literature. Max the cat lives with his family near the school's main gate but spends much of his time on campus. Michael Toscano, CBS News.
You're gonna feel a puff of air.
Zhang's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Did it. He admitted it.
What did he do?
What did he do? What didn't he do?
Yeah, that's a better question.
Say that 3 times fast. I'll tell you what. You're some heck of a man when you beat the tar out of your girlfriend and then admit it after the statute of limitations
Real stand-up guy.
has passed you on by. Right? Exactly. What a scumbag. Is anyone really surprised, though?
I think this case might be the least of his worries.
Well, you know what they say. So goes Henry. So goes yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I don't have anything there.
Yeah, neither
Sometimes
do
I hope it's going to come, and then it just doesn't. It just doesn't happen. That's the way it goes, including here on the Matt Rooney Show. Welcome back, one and all. It is me. You remember the sound of my voice? I took off last week. And my voice is only recovered, I want to say, in the past few days after being at that Trump rally out on the expansive sands of Wildwood, New Jersey. You weren't there, though, Henry.
No.
You were not there.
No.
I looked for Henry, and he was not there. I got a little bit of sunburn.
I mean,
you can't really see it in the studio here if you're watching over on youtube.com/@1210WPHT. You got a little crispy upstairs here.
You get sunburned going outside to get the paper.
Yeah, it's the Irish thing. They talk about the luck of the Irish. Ability to brown is not one of the things that is lucky. But I did get a little bit of burn out there on the sands because it's May, right? So you're outside, you're on a beach. It's relatively sunny, and it was on the day of the president's speech. And I should have known better. I should have applied my sunblock. But again, it's early May. You're not thinking, even if you're on the beach, that you need it yet. But let me tell you, you do.
Yeah, you don't get in that mindset until Memorial Day weekend.
That's right.
That's when it's like, oh yeah, sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's basically winter.
Yes.
Who uses sunscreen now?
That's right. Your brain hasn't turned over yet and made the adjustment. So I didn't really notice it until the next day. My wife made a comment about how I looked a little reddish. But then I woke up and I had that stiff feeling you get in your face when you've got sunburn. You feel like you're one of the women on The View with too much Botox. I'd imagine that's what it feels like. And sure enough, that's what happened. But it was well worth it. That's part of the reason I took off last week. Apologies to all. Because I went and I saw Donald Trump in Wildwood for his rally, which I won't belabor it because I know it got talked about on the station over the course of this past week. I did call in Dom Giordano's program. Dom was broadcasting live from Mulligan's in Wildwood ahead of the rally. So I was a deputized 1210 WPHT special correspondent out there with the tens of thousands of MAGA supporters. So I called and I spoke to Dom about it. But you know what, folks, as much as I love spending time with you, I also enjoy being married most of the time. It was Mother's Day weekend, as you know, and I hope that all the moms out there, and I'm referring, of course, only to biological, actual moms. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. But, the lovely Mrs. Rooney knew that I was going to spend all Saturday getting burnt on the beach in Wildwood hanging out with the Orange Man. And so I knew that Sunday was off the board for me. That was going to be a day devoted to one of the most wonderful ladies out there. So, sorry, priorities, right? I've been a divorce lawyer, Henry, for about 12 years. I know how much that costs, and I wasn't down for it. So no show last week.
That's fair. I think everybody in the listening audience understands.
You supported the decision.
Oh, I absolutely supported it.
Yeah, and also my wife is absolutely terrifying. You don't know her, but trust me.
I'm sure she's a lovely woman.
I didn't say she wasn't lovely.
But she's terrifying.
But she's still terrifying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lethal combo.
The best ones are both, Henry.
Yeah.
The best ones are both. 855-839-1210 is how you call into the program. If you want to get on the line with me this evening, say, Matt, we miss you. We're so glad you're back. I mentioned it already, but I'll say it again. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT is where you can go and you can watch as well as listen and confirm that I am indeed as handsome as I sound. You can also give us a like if you're feeling generous, and you can participate over in the comments section. Although the comments section is going to be a little bit duller than usual without Sid. Again, I know this is a topic that got a lot of discussion on air this week on the station. We lost one of our regular listeners who was prolific in the YouTube chat, Sid. If you've followed any of the hosts, any of the producers, not just on YouTube, but over on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, chances are you saw Sid commenting. And Sid, if you didn't pay attention to the name, because oftentimes your eyes just skip right over the handle and you look at the picture, his profile picture was always Greg Stocker, looking like he had just walked in on one of the ladies from My 600-Pound Life in the shower. Just a look of sheer terror on Greg's face and disgust. I don't know what Greg was talking about on the morning show when that happened, but that was Sid's photograph. So Sid has apparently passed away, and it's very sad. And it's worth noting. And Henry, you can jump in if you think I'm wrong here. You hear someone like me say that, and you just assume that it's an attempt to get audience engagement. But for those of us that have these weekly radio shows and come in and do these programs, it's not. I hope you don't think that I'm just trying to blow some sunshine up your skirt, folks. You really do become family for us. We look forward to hearing from you, seeing your comments. It becomes a relationship that's more than just commercial or transactional, right? So when we find out that somebody is suffering, when somebody's going through something rough, or God forbid, as was the case here, somebody passed away, it really hits. And it's not just something we talk about on the air. I know I was texting with some of the producers I texted producer Dan Valdez about it.
Yeah.
Former producer of this program, because I wasn't sure he had heard, and he had, and he was bummed about it. So, just know, if you didn't believe it before, you know it now. We really do care about you guys. It's not just about ratings. It's not just something we say to butter you up. You mean something to us more than just a statistic that's produced by the Nielsen Company. So just thought I'd throw that out there. And it's all true. I said I wanted to talk a little bit about Trump and Wildwood, and I know I got some tweets with people saying, hey, Matt was out last week. We know he was at the rally. We saw the photos. Hope he can fill us in on his perspective on that event. I tweeted, if you were following along over on my handle on X, Matt Rooney NJ, a photograph that the New York Post put up of thousands of people gathered on the sands of Wildwood, right there by the pier where all the amusements are. And the official estimate was about 80,000. That's what they came up with. And naturally, the leftists on social media and many in the media started not only freaking out about this, but also doing what you always do when you're afraid of something, which is try to discredit it or tear it down. And they said, oh, no, look at that photo. There's no way that there's 80,000 people there. That photograph that you probably have seen, that was from about 3 or 4 hours before Donald Trump took the stage. We sat out there at the sands and roasted, having a great time, but roasted for quite some time before Donald Trump finally landed, got from Atlantic City Airport over to the venue location. And then if you've ever been to an event like this, there's always a period where the VIP speaker is in the back, in this case, in a tent, hobnobbing with the big donors and the VIPs and the important people. So people were continuing to trickle in for hours after that photo was taken. Was it 80,000? I don't know. I went to law school because I hate math, but it was a lot of people, tens of thousands. And let me tell you something. From what I saw standing out there with the masses at Donald Trump's Wildwood rally, it was not the stereotype of what you expect at a Trump rally. Yes, there were lots of boomers wearing MAGA hats that were excited to see Donald Trump, but excited is not the right word. They were 14-year-olds at a Taylor Swift concert. It was a level of glee and giddiness that you're just not going to see in American politics. I mean, I know Barack Obama had, like 1 billion people at the Brandenburg Gate when he ran in 2008. This is the closest you're going to find domestically to somebody that's able to generate that level of enthusiasm and get that many people out there. But I also saw a ton of young people. I saw a ton of not white Trump supporters. I saw families of Indian Americans, many of whom lived in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, that came down to see the president speak. It's part of the reason why that gathering terrified the journalists that were actually there, because I'll tell you what, folks, I know that rallies don't vote any more than yard signs vote, but that rally, there's a clear parallel between what I saw and what I'm also seeing and hearing about in this public polling that shows Donald Trump not only leading nationally, leading in the battleground states, but also making headway with groups that don't traditionally support Republicans. So I say the media was terrified. They were scared. They recognize, and they have done so for weeks and months now, that Trump represents an existential threat to their existence in this country, the lock they have on the culture, on our politics, on the deep state. That rally only confirmed it. And that's why you're seeing so many nasty stories coming out of it. They focus in, obviously, on the one thing Trump says that's a little weird. They made a big deal of that Hannibal Lecter comment he made. I mean, don't you know Donald Trump by now? He likes to tweak people. He's a goof, and I mean that in a positive way. He likes to joke around. He likes to say silly things. He likes to get a rise out of people. Anyone that takes Donald Trump literally at this point is stupid or willfully blind. They haven't been paying attention. But what you did not see or hear in the coverage coming out of that rally is that, at a time when Joe Biden needs help getting on and off the stage, and we played this on the program 2 weeks ago, his advisors are bragging about how their new strategy is to limit how long he talks and his exposure to the public. Donald Trump got up there on that stage, Henry, and spoke for 90 minutes straight. It was the greatest show on earth, right? There's not a single megachurch pastor that could have replicated that performance. Not one Broadway performer, not one famous concert performer could have done what he did. Just talk extemporaneously, nonstop for 90 minutes, have it all make sense. And it was very substantively strong. It wasn't just jokes. It wasn't just Trump tweaking people. He spoke about inflation, its impact on New Jersey, where he was giving this rally, where he's holding this rally, but also nationally. He spoke in detail about the Biden administration's failures in the arena of international trade. It was Joe Biden doesn't know what Donald Trump said in those 90 minutes. Said another way, Donald Trump forgot more than Joe Biden's ever known based upon those 90 minutes that we heard in Wildwood. It was tremendous. And it demonstrates for anybody that's willing to be honest about it, that this is a man, though around the same age as Joe Biden, has a mind and has an energy about him that dwarfs anything the Democrat ticket is going to bring to the table this November. So it was a tremendous experience. Feel like Trump there for a second. Tremendous experience. It was an incredible venue. I don't think you're ever going to see anything like that. The President of the United States standing there on a beach with carnival rides in the background. But it very much was an affirmation of everything that we're seeing out there nationally at the 30,000-foot level. And Democrats should be scared. Joe Biden's not turning out 40, 50, 80,000 people. For Democrats to have a rally with that many Democrat voters in New Jersey, you have to go to a graveyard in Hudson County. It's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Something's happening out there. From the sands of Wildwood all across the country, people have had enough. They're tired of paying what they're paying for groceries, tired of paying what they're paying for gasoline, tired of being gaslighted by the Biden administration, being told that, hey, you don't know how lucky you have it, that we're here looking out for you and making things better than they were before, when we all know that life was better 4 years ago. Universally, across the table, without exception. So be of good cheer. That's my message for you as I come in a little crispier, 1 week removed, 2 weeks removed now from the rally. Things are happening out there. Things are happening, and we just need to working hard. We have to work hard. We have to continue to tell the truth. We have to witness what we believe and what we know about this great country. And I have every bit of faith that we can save this country in November. That's what that rally did for me, if nothing else. 855-839-1210 is the number. Again, over on YouTube, youtube.com/at 1210 WPHT. Jam-packed program once again this evening. We never disappoint on that front. Let me run it down for you. In addition to all the topics we're going to get to, we have coming up in our second of 3 hours, the 8 o'clock hour, Assemblyman Paul Kanitra from Ocean County, New Jersey, back to the Jersey Shore, my favorite place, especially this time of year. He actually took a trip down to the border a few weeks ago and produced not only some great footage from his trip, but he also gave us a report on illegal immigration's impact in New Jersey. Remember, New Jersey's one of these sanctuary states. Democrats are running away from this concept because it's blowing up in their faces. Phil Murphy has not disowned or reversed his sanctuary state policy. And guess what? According to the Assemblyman, New Jersey now has about 900,000 illegal aliens. 900,000. Not 900. Not 9,000, 900,000. That's 1 in every 10 people in New Jersey here illegally. We're going to talk to Paul about his findings. We'll also be joined in the 8 o'clock hour of tonight's program, Robin Schaefer. You may not know the name, but if you're active on Facebook and if you're active in the battle against offshore wind development, he is the president, okay, of Stop Offshore Wind. It's a fantastic organization that is holding a rally, okay? The actual name of, by the way, it's Protect Our Coast NJ. I want to make sure I get it right so you can find it online. They're holding a rally in Ocean City, New Jersey this upcoming Saturday. I'll get the details to you, but if you're going to be at the shore this weekend for Memorial Day weekend and you want to take a break from the funnel cake and if it's good weather from getting your own sunburn on the beach and go over and make sure that Joe Biden and Phil Murphy can hear you that you don't want these overpriced pinwheels off the coast of our state, you can join Protect Our Coast NJ and Robin in Ocean City. He'll join us to talk about his rally. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, our good friend Dan Cerrucci will join us as he often does, PR expert, renowned commentator. We'll talk about what's going on in election 2024, but specifically, Dan, who's a fellow Catholic, wrote a scathing piece on Pope Francis's recent comments, slamming conservative Catholics in the United States. We've had good popes and bad popes in the 2,000-year history of the Roman Catholic Church, of which I am a member. That's a matter of public record. Anybody that's a student history knows that. I don't think we've ever had one that has hated his own flock, or at least a large segment of his own flock, like Francis apparently does. He's finally said the quiet part out loud. Dan will join us to talk about that in the 9 o'clock hour. So we promised and we delivered once again. We always have more content on this program than is probably safe to fit in 3 hours, but we throw caution to the wind and we do it because we care so much about you and we love our time together here on the Matt Rooney Show on Sunday night. So let's take a break, play some ads, make some money because we are capitalists on this program, and then we'll be back to kick off the show formally in just a second.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Hey, it's Nick. Recently, I visited my friends at Piazza Mazda in Westchester to check out the 2024 Mazda CX-30. The dynamic CX-30 offers 8 different trim levels, creating a perfect fit for every lifestyle. When it comes to performance, iActive all-wheel drive is standard, and the available turbocharged engines pack a surprising punch. Safety features such as blind spot monitoring and lane assist led the 2024 CX-30, earning a 5-star overall safety rating. Visit Piazza Mazda in Westchester, Reading, or online, piazzamazda.com.
Hey John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity's stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at LifeLock.com.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I feel occasional burning and stabbing in my hands as I age.
I sometimes feel numbness and tingling in my feet as I get older.
It's starting to get in the way of doing what I love.
At Nervive, we hear you, and we can help. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use.
Now that I know, I'm taking control.
Try Nervive Nerve Relief and say yes to healthy nerves. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Second show of the season, Henry, where I'm wearing flip-flops.
It's disgusting.
Come on, that's a little extra.
Is it though?
Yeah, you're a little extra like Jasmine Crockett, man.
See, that was funny though. That comeback she had was hilarious.
So I was listening to this when I was getting ready for my show prep. I don't know if everyone knows what we're talking about, how much this has made it around the world right now. It's all over social media. I watched this exchange between Congresswoman Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they are verbally taking chunks out of each other in the House of Representatives. And my overwhelming emotion, Henry, was, wow. Congress is more of a dumpster fire than we even previously thought. My second thought was that it's trashy and full of very trashy people. Congress has always had trash bags, but they hit a little bit better. Our culture used to prize a certain level of decorum. So even if you were scummy outside of the limelight, you behaved a certain way when you were in the limelight. Maybe some people appreciate the honesty that now there's no artifice, that people just let their freak flags fly when they're under the dome and they're out there working for the American people. But it's, you watch this, you listen to it, and the next place my mind goes, and maybe you're the same, is I think, wow, what is China thinking watching this and listening to this? What are they seeing in Russia? What are they seeing in North Korea? The 6 people in North Korea that have televisions that are allowed to broadcast anything. Capitals around the world. I mean, we are a joke And it's not for the reasons that the left thinks we're a joke. They think that we're a joke because we're, structurally racist and this, that, and the other, when you and I know that's all nonsense. The reason we're a joke is because the people that are supposed to be leading us are losers, right? And then you think to yourself, and I've made this comment on this program before, politics is always downhill from culture. It's not an observation original to yours truly, but it's one I believe very strongly. And I have been pointing out for years that our culture's decline, our obsession with these reality television shows, it's the modern form of Roman gladiatorial combat where we like to see people just rip each other apart and debase themselves for entertainment. Eventually, that was going to have a direct impact on the people that were leading the nation. And we've officially arrived. They love to talk about Donald Trump. I mean, listen to this. And Henry, I'm looking at let's see, I have to be careful here because we care about decorum here on the Matt Rooney Show most of the time, or at least we work a little bit harder at it. This is cut 8, but Henry, I did not flag the potty word in there. So I think we have to cut it at 1 minute mark, unless you already got it.
No, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't bleep anything out tonight.
You trust me so much.
Well, I've heard this clip plenty on Friday, so
Yeah.
I know when she comes in and drops in the S bomb.
So you know what it is.
I know what to be
You've
looking
committed
for.
it to memory.
Yeah.
Well, I'll help you out. It's the 1 minute mark because she says it at like 1 minute 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So listen to this, and just so I can set this up for everyone that missed it. Marjorie Taylor Greene asked what I thought was a valid question about Merrick Garland, and she got a snide response from Congresswoman Crockett. And Marjorie Taylor Greene made a comment about how, well, Crockett must have read past the point because she missed it with her fake eyelashes. I guess Jasmine Crockett has fake eyelashes. I never really examined her eyelashes.
Yeah, no one really cares.
No one really cares, right? But it was just, it was a nasty comment, right? And it was over the line. But then Crockett doesn't just step over the line, she leaps headfirst over the line. So with that as your preamble here, listen to this and prepare to be depressed about the state of your nation.
Ms. Greene, for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's?
It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
part of
I'm
it.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to
I
strike
had no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm
No,
down.
no, because this
I
is
would
what
like to
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying
Hey,
to
Ms.
get
Crockett,
clarification.
you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Ms.
games.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And you
yelling.
don't want me-
Calm
Yeah,
down. No.
there you go. So and then the S word gets dropped
Shortly after I just stopped it.
shortly thereafter. Didn't you want to instinctively start cheering Jerry, rest in peace, right? It's just it's a trash show, folks. It's pathetic. And look, I know there were probably some fans of Marjorie Taylor Greene in the audience. When you were talking about this on the air Friday, was anybody defending her, Henry?
No.
Not really. Yeah, look, Donald Trump is a pragmatist and is usually willing to stick his neck out for people, even if they're not always the best people, if they defend him, because he recognizes that we're in kind of a fight for our civilization here. So he justifiably is often not picky about who our allies are. But he won't even stand up for Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to take out Speaker Johnson. I mean, that tells you something. I would like to, I'll tell you what, first of all, we need to deport all of these illegal aliens, right? Donald Trump has promised to initiate that process when he's elected. We'll see if he does it. And we're going to talk more about that tonight in the second hour of our program. Next, I think we need to deport Congress.
I am fully in support of that.
Let's look, Australia really isn't doing anything worthwhile at the moment other than producing the children's television show Bluey, which is some of the greatest children's television since Sesame Street, right? So other than Bluey, not really contributing much. Let's turn it back into a prison colony. Have them go there, hammer out license plates, and just be done with them. It's about more than what they are, quote unquote, accomplishing, right? We hear all the time, Congress isn't accomplishing anything. They're not getting the people's business done. As a limited government conservative, candidly, most of the time, I think we'd be better off if they weren't doing anything. It's not the gridlock that bothers me. It's not the lack of, quote unquote, accomplishing things that bothers me. It's that these people represent us. And they project weakness very much in the same way that Joe Biden projects weakness. And we cannot afford to be weak right now. The world is on fire. You don't need me to tell you. You know this. Talk about it every day, every week at this station. So, as fun as it is, on some disturbing level, that the House of Representatives has turned into Summer House or Real Housewives or one of these other programs, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's another milepost on the road to American decline. Secret Squirrel over in the comments says, there is no Congress, Matt. No need to deport something we don't have. I think I know what you're driving at there. That just because they have the title and just because the rear ends are in the seats doesn't mean that they're functioning the way they're supposed to function. And that's probably been true for a while. It's just more apparent now than it's ever been before. Henry was entertained, though. Henry was giggling throughout that entire exchange.
Yeah, the bleach blonde, bad butch body is such a good insult.
It's pretty good. I know we don't like Crockett around here. We don't like her politics, but that was a solid slam.
Oh, it's a haymaker.
And listen, that was Congresswoman Luna chiming in there, I think, at some point, telling Crockett to calm down. Listen, Congresswoman, all the respect in the world. If there's one thing I've learned as a man in nearly 40 years on Earth, you do not tell an angry woman to calm down.
Yeah.
That is the worst possible thing you can say.
It's the number one on the rules list.
It's right up there, near the top.
I also like, who is it, Comer, just being like, oh, what now?
Yeah, what now? Bleach blonde what?
Like, he just had absolutely no idea. Like, he'd never heard, like, I don't know, and that assortment of words together at all. Or maybe he didn't know what, like, butch meant or, like, any of that. Just a what?
It broke his poor brain.
Yeah.
This is, look.
Words you never thought would get, put together on the floor of Congress, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the body that Daniel Webster used to be a member of, folks. Daniel Webster. And now this is what passes as a member of Congress in 2024. And this is part of the problem here is that because our politics is so broken, good people don't want to go into politics anymore, and people are no longer making it an aspiration of their children to go into politics. There was a time when any immigrant parent, right, that came here to this country, had children, wanted to raise their boy or their girl to be an American and have their share of the American dream, they would have been honored to have a child that was a member of Congress, a president, right, a senator. Don Corleone gave a great speech about it, Henry. You could have been a Senator Corleone, Governor Corleone, right? No more. No more. People don't want their children to be in politics. Now kids, I guess, dream of being influencers on social media, and their parents encourage it. I'll tell you where else this happened, and we're going to talk to Dan Cerrucci in the final hour of today's program about Pope Francis. It happened in my religion, in the Roman Catholic Church. There was a time, not that all long ago, you come from an Italian, Irish Catholic family like mine, every mom that had 5 or 6 kids would have been honored to have one of their children become a priest. That changed. When we no longer aspire to something, it degrades. And that's what's happened on Capitol Hill. 855-839-1210 is how you reach us here at the station. 1210 WPHT, a place where standards have not dipped, notwithstanding the fact that somebody decided it was a good idea to give me a 3-hour program. But as we march along in the first hour, let's take another break so that we can give our advertisers the time they paid for and the attention they so richly deserve. And when we come back, we'll begin to wrap up this first of 3 hours here on the Matt Rooney Show. Back in a second.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7. And we guarantee, if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. You've heard me talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding, how much I love my new patio doors. You know by now, if I needed windows, doors, or siding, I'd only trust the Chapman team. If you're thinking of updating your current siding or removing your current stucco and replacing it with siding, think Chapman. With the new updated siding choices available, the curb appeal of your home will pop. If you currently have stucco, updating it with James Hardy plank or vinyl siding will truly add value to your home. If you're looking to sell, you can bet buyers will value updated new siding. And right now would be a good time to get ahead of the ball and plan your siding project for 2024. The certified Chapman installers are the folks you want on the job. If you or someone you know are looking for windows, doors, siding, stucco remediation, shutters, or hardware, give them a call or text them 610-431-8898, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Chapman, the name I trust. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, we're David and Greg Figueroa, founders of Melinda's Hot Sauce. Sometimes brand testimonials feel, well, unbelievable. So we have a fresh take. Tasty-monials. Comments from real people on the internet who love Melinda's balance of hot heat and fresh, flavorful ingredients. At 2021 Do Work says, legendary. Nobody does it better. What was that? Sounds for fire emoji, touchdown emoji, and 100% emoji. Okay. At Snack Food Mafia says, I love how they were a thicker hot sauce and not some watery junk. Love it. At Moshroom writes, best hot sauce west of the Mississippi, also the best hot sauce east of the Mississippi. Pro tip, that's the whole United States. Finally, at IGP1 always says, smack so hard. We love to hear that as much as the FCC. Set your mouth on flavor with Melinda's Hot Sauces. Find them at your local retailer or online at melindas.com. That's MELINDAS.com.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
93% of Pennsylvanians killed in a car crash while unbelted could have survived if they'd just buckled up. One simple click, a second of your time. It's the difference between making it home to your loved ones or not making it home at all. Whether you're a driver or a passenger, make the life-changing choice to wear a seatbelt. Every drive, every time. It's not just the law, it's common sense. Buckle up, PA. Learn more at PennDOT.pa.gov/safety.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Couple people getting a little salty with me on social media for saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is trashy, like Congresswoman Crockett. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I mean, did you hear the audio? Did you watch the video?
Yeah, she started the fight, and not only did she start it, she lost it.
She lost it. Right, if you're going to start a cafeteria fist fight, you at least win it. Right? And that kind of is the point, right? So Donald Trump says provocative things, outrageous things, but there's almost always a purpose, and he wins battles. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the business of self-aggrandizement, right? Like when she went after Speaker Johnson, it was timed with one of those money bomb emails, as was widely reported, right? We need street fighters. We can't always be worried about playing by the Queensberry rules because that's what the left wants us to do. And when we play by their rules, we get our rear ends handed to us. That's not what I'm talking about here. But at some point, we have to be kind of sympathetic if we want people to listen to us. And she's just not. Right?
She's a pick-me girl.
What's a pick-me girl?
She just goes above and beyond to, like, validate herself. Like, look at me, I'm her. I'm that person. I'm that girl.
Okay, I could see that. And clearly self-obsessed.
Yeah.
Right?
Clearly.
So I'm not apologizing for that one. I don't know what to tell you. Moving along. A little bit of breaking news this hour. I saw something percolating right before we came on tonight. Apparently, the president of Iran has crashed. Right? One of these mess around and find out moments. Wouldn't be surprised to find out Mossad had something to do with this. But according to the Associated Press, a helicopter carrying Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and the country's foreign minister and other officials apparently crashed in the mountainous northwest reaches of Iran on Sunday. And there's a massive rescue operation underway. This is the guy who, along with the Ayatollah, launched that missile drone attack on Israel just a few weeks ago. Coincidence? Probably not. So, thoughts and prayers and all the things, right? But not really, because they're bad people over there. So we don't really care.
Does anyone survive a helicopter crash? Is it worth looking? Like I'm trying to keep it real
not very often.
Yeah, like who's a plane crash? Yeah, maybe a helicopter crash. No, that thing's like a tin can in the sky. It's not going to hold up.
Well, it kind of reminds me of when those rich people went down in that submarine.
Yeah, the submersible.
And it imploded or whatever.
Yeah, like it's
search operations are underway.
It's the helicopter equivalent.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Well, I say the same thing about motorcycles, right? I'm sure some of you out there in the audience love motorcycles. The problem with motorcycles, especially when you're riding them in a very populated area, there's no such thing as a minor motorcycle accident.
Right.
You get hit on a motorcycle, you get messed up.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we just nailed it. We got the land one, the air one, and the sea one.
There you go.
Same version of everything.
Motorcycle, see how we did that?
Submersible.
God, we're good, Henry.
Yeah.
Someone else also on social media, Slim Jim 9, said, Matt, they say every year we're going to start winning the black vote. I think when he says we, he means Republicans, and we never do. What is different about this year? I don't know if this year is different. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just stating that there's plenty of anecdotal evidence. I talked about my rally experience in Wildwood a little bit earlier in the program. And the polls are uniformly showing some kind of movement. I think we have a clip to this effect if we have time here before the end of the hour. Let's see. Cut 7, Henry. This is from CNN reporting that President Trump has not increased by 5%, not increased by 20%. He has more than doubled his support among black voters versus 2020. Listen to this.
But look at this number for Donald Trump, 22%. Where was Donald Trump at this point 4 years ago in the polls? He was just at 9% of the vote. So he's seen more than a doubling in his support among African Americans. This margin, which was in the 70s just 4 years ago, look at where it is now, 69 minus 22. That puts it in the 40s. My goodness gracious. If this held through the general election, obviously we're still months away, this would be by far the best performance for a Republican candidate among black voters in a generation, 2 generations, probably since 1960 and Richard Nixon against John F. Kennedy. That's how long we're really talking about when we're looking at this margin here. This could be a truly historic margin. It's quite a troubling sign for the Biden campaign.
You got to go back to 1960, Henry. Right? So we all know that there was a realignment, right, in the 60s and 70s when black voters began moving decisively against Republicans, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But wouldn't it be something if we're sitting here, the first Matt Rooney show after election 2024, and Donald Trump has pulled it out, and one of the things we're talking about is how Donald Trump is the strongest Republican candidate in over 60 years with black voters. By the way, in case you haven't caught on to the joke yet, this is the reason why these never Trumper types hate him so much. I'm talking about Bill Kristol, the Bushes, Mitt Romney, the Cheneys. They don't hate him because of what he says. They don't hate him, at least not entirely, because of who he is, even though they don't think this brash-talking real estate developer from New York is on the level. They hate him because he's doing something that they could never do. And if he pulls this off, it may shut them up, at least for a little bit, right? But they're never going to love him, and they're never going to admit they're wrong because it's jealousy. It's envy. That's why they hate Donald Trump. It's why Chris Christie hates Donald Trump. Did you hear Donald Trump was talking about Christie being a fat pig?
Again?
That was one of the greatest riffs at the rally. And he did it in a very Trumpian way. He didn't call Chris Christie a fat pig. He said something to the effect of, people have been calling him a fat pig. I'm not saying he's a fat pig. You get canceled when you call people fat. Got the biggest pop out of the entire rally, other than when he came out, dumping on CJC.
Chris Christie, who's got nothing going except I could be tougher than Trump. He's not tougher than anybody's slub.
Fatty McThunder biscuits, man. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So, yeah, Christie was not there. Christie did kiss the mooch, though. Did you see that?
Scaramucci?
Yeah, he was at a book launch for Scaramucci. You can check out my X account if you haven't recently. Matt Rooney NJ is my handle. I posted the video. It's awkward. So Mooch goes to give Christie a kiss on the cheek, and then Christie kind of turns at the same time, and there's lip-to-lip contact, but Christie doesn't immediately pull away. So you're thinking to yourself, was it just an accident? Was Christie feeling something in that moment because so many people were being mean to him? He can connect with another Trump hater. Maybe he tasted like some cheesesteak or candy on
you got something
the
on
mooch's
your lips there.
Yeah.
Something on the corner of your mouth.
Yeah.
And get it for you.
Yeah. Maybe he was just trying to eat him. Or maybe that's how Christie begins the process of devouring another human being. I don't know. I wouldn't want to watch it.
You got the taste for flesh right there.
Hey, listen, when you're that large, you got to find it somewhere, I guess. But check that out. I mean, unfortunately, there's no audio. The best comment of the whole reaction to the Christy Mooch kiss was a friend of this station, Scott Pressler, who said something to the effect of, "Ooh, this video made me hetero." Classic. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. You can also check us out over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. 1 hour in the can, 2 hours and 3 guests. Plenty of content still left to go here on 1210. So go fill up that coffee mug, pop some popcorn, whatever it takes for you to maximally enjoy what we have in store when we return from this commercial break. We'll be looking forward to it. I hope you will be too. Back in a moment.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I'm Michael Toscano. Russia is sending a rescue team to Iran to help in the search for President Ebrahim Raisi, whose helicopter went down in mountains. CBS News correspondent Stacey Lynn is following that.
According to Iranian state media, the helicopter suffered what it called a hard landing this morning while flying in foggy conditions. Rescue workers are reportedly struggling to reach the site. Here in Washington, U.S. State Department officials say they're closely watching the reports of the crash. President Biden has been briefed on the accident as well.
The president delivered the commencement speech at Morehouse College.
President Biden delivered the commencement address at Morehouse College in Atlanta, warning of extremist forces threatening Black America.
They don't see you in the future of America, but they're wrong.
The president garnered mixed reactions from students at the historically Black college. Ceasefire! As protesters gathered outside,
I've called for an immediate ceasefire.
Some graduates and faculty turned their backs to the president during his speech.
Words are words, actions are something different.
Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
A CBS News poll suggests President Biden is behind former President Trump in the key states of Florida and Arizona. CBS's Jennifer DePinto says the abortion issue may not determine the outcome.
Majorities of voters in both states favor abortion being legal, but that doesn't all accrue to Joe Biden. Most of this group would back him. But in each of these states, more than a third of those who support abortion being legal say they would vote for Donald Trump.
Sean Diddy Combs is apologizing for actions in 2016 caught on video just circulated. It allegedly shows him beating an ex-girlfriend.
I'm so sorry, but I'm committed to be a better man each and every day.
President Biden and former President Trump will debate under a new format when they meet live on CNN next month. Mark Lauder helped Mike Pence prepare for the vice presidential debate in 2020, and he told ABC's This Week,
I think the American people need to see Donald Trump and Joe Biden side by side. This is not a Joe Biden that can shield himself with his staff walking to Marine One or take the short stairs or use a teleprompter. This is going to be live recall.
The price of gas may be on your mind as Memorial Day weekend approaches. Patrick DeHaan of Gas Buddy tells us
the national average is down about 11 cents a gallon from where we were in mid-April. Most of that is thanks to refinery maintenance that has largely concluded. Refiners are now ramping up production of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel in response.
Xander Schauffele has won the PGA Championship. He made a 6-foot birdie putt on the last hole for a one-shot victory over Bryson DeChambeau. Schauffele set a major championship scoring record in the process. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie elsewhere in between on the spectrum that is life. I am Matt Rooney, and this is the Matt Rooney Show, coming to you once again here on 1210 WPHT for what we do on Sunday nights, which is 3 solid hours of information, entertainment, sometimes enlightenment. There are occasions where the things that Henry and I have to talk about here leave me more bewildered and confused and depressed than I was before. But again, that is life. That's how it works. Sometimes there aren't easy answers, clear solutions, and you certainly can't make sense of the senseless. But that's what we endeavor to do here. Every Sunday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. And we're delighted that you are with us along for the ride. And as I mentioned, we do have with us as my intrepid and trusty co-pilot on Sunday nights, a man who needs no introduction, the one, the only producer, Henry Machette. Henry?
Yo.
How's it going, bub?
It's going pretty well, actually. It was a good weekend.
What are you eating tonight?
I had a chicken salad sandwich with some cheese puffs.
Okay. Breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
It was the reason I ask is because, and I'm not complaining. It was when I walked into your booth tonight before the program, it was quite pungent, and I was fairly certain it wasn't you. That it was something you were eating.
Pungent how?
Just when you walk into a cafeteria or a kitchen or something, especially during the winter months when the windows are closed.
Okay.
And the food smell just kind of like right in your face. That's kind of what I got.
Okay, well, I'm glad my Wawa sandwich really wafted into your air.
It did.
Airspace there.
Yeah, and it did have that Wawa smell. Wawa has a very distinct scent.
Yeah.
Just like Burger King has a very distinct scent.
It got on me.
It got on you.
Permeated throughout the studio here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Wawa cologne.
But I've gone nose blind to it.
Is it long COVID?
No,
Do we need to call Dr. Fauci?
I guess I can't smell myself. I don't know.
Well, that may be a good thing. I don't know.
I mean, I usually smell pretty nice. I don't know.
Do you?
Yeah, I try to.
Personal hygiene matter to you, Henry?
A bit.
Cleanliness matter to you?
Of course.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking. I mean, when I was your age and when I was not, because I don't know what maybe you are, right? We haven't done a deep dive into your love life. Well, I used to do that to producer Dan. I haven't tortured you, probably because I like you more than I like Dan. So it was easy. It came more naturally to be mean to him. But when I wasn't seeing somebody, like shower when you shower, wear a shirt twice. I didn't really care.
I always need a shower.
Okay. All right. Well, good for you.
Without a shower.
That's why you're a catch, Henry. That's why you're a catch.
Damn straight.
855-839-1210, by the way, is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. You can also check us out over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. You can't smell Henry. You also can't see him. He doesn't usually activate.
I was just on the camera.
The producer. Were you really?
Yeah.
So I've been having this issue lately where my Rune Cam here over in the 1210 page doesn't automatically refresh. So I have to go to the top and I have to press a little refresh button.
You just love watching yourself.
And I must have missed you. It's not so much a matter of liking watching myself. It's more just a matter of making sure that the viewers are getting the experience they deserve.
Yeah, is that how you're going to spin it? Okay.
How did that sound? Was that okay?
Not fooling me.
Not fooling you. No, we can't get anything by you. And, of course, the chat is lively as per usual. Suze Loves Jeffy is there. Secret Squirrel's there doing his thing, saying that he snacks on raw garlic. That does not surprise me in the least. Also, Tiny Bubbles is there. She's talking about a praying mantis. I don't know what the context is. I have to read back further in the comments maybe to get that.
Oh, you'll be there all night.
Yeah. There's I would have to deep dive that, and I may not like where it goes. But you can head over to YouTube and get on the chat if you want. And then you can also check us out over on, wait, what is Suze Loves Jeffy saying? Secret Squirrel is a girl? I mean, is Secret Squirrel a girl? It doesn't really matter.
It's a secret.
It's a secret? Okay. Well, maybe it'll remain such. Maybe it'll remain as such. We've got a full hour, by the way, here on the Matt Rooney Show. Plenty that we need to talk about. We also have 2 guests this hour. I mentioned at the top of the program, but in case you missed it, we have Assemblyman Paul Canitra. He's a freshman millennial Republican from the Jersey Shore who's going to join us to talk about his recent trip to the border and some startling information in a report that he produced, including the fact that as many as 1 in 10 New Jerseyans is now in the state illegally. Think about that for a moment. And then we'll also be joined a little later in the hour by Robin Schaefer. Robin Schaefer and his organization, Protect Our Coast NJ, is helping lead the fight against offshore wind development in the Garden State. They're having a major rally in Ocean City, New Jersey this Memorial Day weekend. Robin's going to join us to talk about it. And of course, as ever, we'll talk about this hour, anything else that pops into our minds. And Henry and I decide we want to talk about it because that's how this show goes. It is a dictatorship, and we make no apologies for it. Now, moving along here. There were some great Trump video clips coming out of the last week, I have to tell you. We talked about the Trump rally, which was over a week ago because I wasn't here last week in the first hour of tonight's program. If you follow Trump closely, and I enjoy it usually, but I also have to. It's kind of part of my job here as a radio host. I think that we're getting peak Trump right now. We're getting peak Trump. I think initially when he got hit with all of these indictments, when you heard him speak in public, he was a little off kilter, and you can't blame him for that, right? Because the guy was under siege from every single angle. Lately, I really think he's hitting his stride. And I'm getting that, and I got this when we were in Wildwood, that 2016 Trump feel, right? Where he is with his battering ram at the gates, taking on the deep state, and he has a sense of mission and purpose and humor in all of his public commentary, and there's just energy there, and that's when he's at his best, right? And his criticism of Joe Biden right now is cutting, absolutely cutting, and I think it's working, and the polling reflects that. Here is Donald Trump in Minnesota. This is cut 1. This one, actually, Henry, I was going to say to 24, but you say you didn't bleep it, right?
I bleeped it.
Oh, you did bleep it?
I
Okay.
did it over the break, yeah.
So at the beginning of tonight, Henry said he didn't have time to bleep anything because there's a lot of potty language that gets us sued by the FCC, right, in tonight's clips. But Henry has done what a great producer does, and he's now corrected that. He's now taking care of it. So all of your ears are safe. Our program will remain PG, so the kiddos, if they're still awake, can listen. This is Donald Trump razzing Joe Biden at his Minnesota rally. Enjoy.
He's all about disinformation. Pilots come in. He said, I used to fly a plane. Truckers come in. I used to drive a truck. People come in from Minnesota. I used to live in Minnesota. Right? He is so full of shit, this guy. Terrible. Terrible.
If you were listening in the first hour of tonight's program, we played that cat fight between Congresswoman Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Do you see the difference? So Trump dropped the S-bomb, but it's in a humorous, lighthearted way that makes a point. He's not just being catty and nasty for the sake of being catty and nasty. There's a difference there. And there's an important distinction. I'm just saying, for those of you that don't understand. And it's showing in the polling. Every week I talk about the polls, and some of you get annoyed. Matt, polls are always wrong. Why do you talk about the polling? It's only one measure of where we're at, folks. But, as we sit here tonight, Donald Trump continues to lead in just about every single battleground state. Actually, all the key battleground states. Up 2 points in Pennsylvania in the RCP. Up 6.2 points. 6.2 points in Nevada. That is wild, if true. Georgia, Trump ahead. Michigan, Trump ahead. Arizona, Trump ahead. Humor always is most impactful and effective when it reflects truth, right? And making fun of Joe Biden for being a doddering liar happens to be funny because it reflects reality. That's what the President of the United States is. And that's what the American people know him to be. And yeah, there's something not very funny underlying it, right? The fact that our country is led by an ignoramus. But we laugh and we ridicule this guy because he deserves it. And it's affecting this race. It really is. I mentioned the Wildwood rally earlier. Can I go back to this for just a second? I said that I wasn't going to keep talking about it because even though I was not here last week, you folks were, and so it's been talked about in other programs. But I want to lay this on you for a second because as a New Jerseyan, I was offended. Okay? And it takes a lot to offend me. Henry knows this. I have very thick skin. I am not a rhino, but I do have the skin of a rhinoceros. Very little bothers me, except some of the stuff that Henry buys at Wawa when I smell it when I go into his booth. Other than that,
did it bother you,
unflappable.
though, or did you enjoy it?
I wasn't really offended by it. I'm joking, but it didn't smell great.
Okay.
It didn't smell great. Sometimes you smell somebody else's food and you say, wow, I wish they'd brought me some. That was not my reaction, Henry. And it didn't smell like chicken salad. You said it was chicken salad?
Chicken salad.
Did not smell like chicken salad. NJ.com. That's the online portal for the Star Ledger, which is New Jersey's largest daily newspaper, right? Not many people buying newspapers these days, but you can go to NJ.com. They cover New Jersey politics. Most of that website is now clickbait. You probably have seen this in your own state, wherever you happen to be listening to the program tonight. Hard news is being replaced by, hey, here's a list of the top 10 pizzerias in our area, right? They're giving up on news, and they're moving further and further away from the product that could actually bring people back to these publications. But that's a discussion for another time. One day after Donald Trump's Wildwood rally, NJ.com, this massive newspaper in New Jersey, right, liberal in its editorial bent, published an op-ed encouraging New Jerseyans to go to Rehoboth this summer. That the Delaware beach was a better alternative to the Jersey Shore. Coincidence? I think not. But back to that in a second. This is from the article, okay? Some New Jerseyans have known for years that Rehoboth Beach on Delaware's southeastern coast is a worthy rival to our shore, even if getting there can mean a nearly 2-hour drive from the Delaware Memorial Bridge or an 85-minute ferry ride across Delaware Bay to nearby Lewis, wrote Rob Jennings. That's the mouth breather that belched this out. The beach, unlike most on the Jersey Shore, is free. There are rides, arcades, popular restaurants, and the city's legacy is an LGBTQ-friendly travel destination, Henry. Isn't that peachy? He also lauded what he described as a Jersey-like vibe in Rehoboth. Said that the biggest celebrity sighting in Rehoboth isn't Bruce Springsteen, it's President Joe Biden, who has a vacation home in the area. Not hard to spot Joe Biden down there, by the way, because he spends more time there than he does the White House.
Yawn.
Right? Is that encouraging you to alter your vacation plans, Henry?
No, I mean, I'll be at the Delaware beaches, this summer at some point, but not to see him.
I mean, I guess if I knew he was going to fall off his bike again, I wouldn't mind watching that, but
you don't think they'd ever put him on a bike again?
I think they want to strap him to a chair.
Yes,
and have him stay as little as possible between now and November, hoping they can pull this out.
Electric wheelchairs, get him around.
Yeah. But look, I mean, the timing of this article had not been clear. I mentioned in the first hour of tonight's program that the left was just freaking out after this rally. The fact that Donald Trump could get 80,000 people in blue jersey on a beach supporting him the spring before the election, nightmare fuel for Democrats. But they're so butthurt about it that you have this major New Jersey liberal publication saying, you know what, don't go to the red Jersey Shore. Head down to Rehoboth. They'd rather hurt their own state. That's how much they hate you. And that's the point that can't be lost here. For those of you who don't know New Jersey politics intimately, the Jersey Shore, Monmouth, Ocean, Atlantic, and especially Cape May County, my second home near and dear to my heart, rock red. Donald Trump is going to clean up along the coast of New Jersey this year, regardless of how the I-95 corridor votes in November. We'll see. One poll recently had him only down 5 points, so could get interesting. But they would rather hurt the Jersey Shore because it's full of people that like Donald Trump and it's full of Republicans and conservatives and people that think that Joe Biden's an idiot, that they would actually encourage people to hurt their state's own tourism industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry. That is a new level of spite, Henry, unseen in New Jersey politics. And we're a state where people shut down bridges to get political retribution. So that's really saying something because it's quite a bar that's already been established. So shame on NJ.com. Can't say I'm surprised. But one of the many reasons why people are abandoning these publications, because they are leftist rags without any independent value, unless you are a leftist that is going to these publications to get affirmation. I've been saying this forever. These newspapers, New York Times, Star Ledger, Philadelphia Inquirer, there was a time when they tried to avoid controversy and instead report news, because not only were many people in the newsroom actually dedicated to doing their job, which is journalism, but you didn't sell advertising by turning people off. Now it's completely flipped around. They are secular churches for people who believe in leftism. That's their audience, and they're fine having a smaller audience and simply serving that demographic. That's how they are trying to get by in the digital age. And it's still not working, right? Every time you check out the latest revenue reports for these major papers, when you Google it, find out that there's new layoffs. It's not working. But that's what they're trying to do. That's the new business model. All the good may it do them. 855-839-1210, again, is the number here at The Matt Rooney Show. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Make sure you give us a like over there if you're watching on YouTube. The only problem with the YouTube comments, Henry, is that sometimes I look at them and then I go back to talking, or I'm going back and forth with you, or we have a guest or whatever, and I miss very important context, right? Like Secret Squirrel is saying, did Matt say urinalism instead of journalism? Did I miss something?
Did you?
I don't think so. We can replay the tape. Maybe it was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, you're saying journalism's in the toilet, quite literally.
Secret Squirrel, is that original to me if I indeed said that? Because we may make that a thing.
Put it on a shirt.
A Matt Rooney Show first, urinalism. And Sue says, maybe people in Rehoboth hate having him on weekends with all the Secret Service and such. It would annoy me. Rehoboth is beautiful, but I go to NJ Shore every time. Rehoboth isn't bad, but I've been there plenty, and let's put it this way. I don't see the benefit in driving that much further to get basically a watered-down worse version of the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, like that article talked about taking the ferry. Like, you already got to go down the Jersey Shore if you're going to take the ferry.
Right.
I took it a few weeks ago.
Right. And if you're looking for LGBTQ friendly, I mean, like, you don't have to go to Delaware, which, for those of you that want to believe the NJ.com representation of the Jersey Shore, I haven't been to any witch burnings or, any, gays being tortured or anything at the Jersey Shore recently. Like, that's not a thing that happens down there.
Yeah, like, isn't pretty much every
There's
place
no
gay
litmus test.
friendly now? Like,
right. Like, people, they're not stopping you in the Garden State Parkway and saying, hey, you're a dude. If you like dudes, turn around. Like, that's not a thing. Actually, one of the U.S. Senate candidates this year in New Jersey, Curtis Bashaw, he's been on the program. He's the owner of Congress Hall, is an openly gay guy.
Yeah.
And he has the support of Cape May and Atlantic County Republicans. Actually, I think Ocean and Monmouth endorsed him as well. So, this whole idea that, like, the Jersey Shore is anti-gay, once again, another liberal trope. It's positively exhausting. 855-839-1210 is the number. Let's take a break. And when we return, we're going to talk to our guests about illegal immigration and so much more here on 1210 WPHT. Back in a jiffy.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
The ride is July 21st. Yeah. I believe we will hit 20 grand before the 4th of July holiday. This might happen by Father's Day, to be honest. Last year, once I did the ride and I finished it, I wanted to be on the air the next day to brag and prove that I could do it. Now that I've done that, I think I'm going to stay down in Atlantic City this year and just crash for the night at a hotel.
Are you?
Yeah, I might take a day off the next day.
It ends in Atlantic City. Maybe there's an AC sponsorship. You could spend the night and broadcast from there.
We could broadcast in a casino at 6 a.m.
You're just filled with ideas today.
So I'll be at the sales meeting next Tuesday.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Roll on down to CBP on Saturday, June 1st at 7:15 when the Phils host the Cards and kids 14 and under receive a London 2024 double-decker bus presented by SEI. Order tickets now at Phillies.com. Enjoy some interleague action when the Phils welcome the Rangers to CBP on Tuesday, May 21st and Wednesday, May 22nd, both at 6:40, and Thursday, May 23rd at 1:05. Order tickets at Phillies.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Pro-Palestinian protesters set up a new encampment at Drexel University. Lawmakers in New Jersey are working to crack down on teen vaping by going after the businesses that sell to minors. Search and rescue efforts are underway as a helicopter carrying Iran's president suffers a crash landing.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, at Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels has to be New York. Skiing, Colorado, every time. And for psychics, think California Psychics. When you want the best, some places are better than others. That's why at CaliforniaPsychics.com, home of free spirits, big dreams, and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. We connect you with the very best, so we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So whatever direction you want to take your life, you know where to start. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Did you know you can stream Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app? Just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio to hear the voices you trust. Brian Kilmeade.
Why are we so scared of Iran thinking that we're at war with them?
Guy Benson.
Get the bleep out of here. It's disgusting.
Jimmy Fallon.
Then this administration rolled into town with a checkbook.
Are all on the free Odyssey app. From the news and talk to keep you informed and up to date during election season. Listen to Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000.
Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
New this morning, a man is facing 8 total charges after reported sexual assault at a place serving dessert and coffee in the Gulch. This happened in the Nashville Sunday Club on 11th Avenue South around 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Arrest reports show Nelson Ortiz Ramirez grabbed the victim's buttocks and began pushing her into the bathroom. Victim told police she kicked him and locked herself in the bathroom before calling for help. Officers say workers flagged them down near Laurel Street and 12th Avenue South, saying the sexual assault suspect was just walking in the area. Ramirez faces several charges, including attempted kidnapping and sexual battery.
And he's reportedly an illegal alien. Surprise, surprise. Oh, but there's more. Because this is a Joe Biden illegal alien crime wave. These are not isolated incidents. These horrific crimes against U.S. citizens, many of these crimes being perpetrated against legal immigrants and women. Let's not forget that. They're happening all over the place. Here is another cut. You can hear these daily on news programs across the country. This is cut numero tres, Henry.
Tonight, an illegal migrant is behind bars, accused of committing sex crimes against a minor. The Campbell County Sheriff's Office says that Tuesday, deputies began an investigation into an alleged sexual assault of a minor. Yesterday, authorities arrested 21-year-old Huder Sakulkal. After an investigation, deputies found that he had been in the country illegally and that he has been deported at least once in the past. The suspect is charged with rape of a minor. He's being held without bond at the Blue Ridge Regional Jail. This is the second time in the past 3 months authorities in Campbell County have arrested an illegal migrant for alleged sex crimes.
Look, politics and spin go hand in hand, right? This is what people have been doing since the beginning of time, taking things from the news and attempting to apply them to the political narrative. Here, you don't have to spin anything. It's just reality. There is a direct correlation between the chaos that Joe Biden is, I was just going to say, Henry, the chaos that Joe Biden is consciously allowing to play out at the border. I'm not sure how conscious Joe Biden is on a day-to-day basis. But during his lucid moments, and we know the people that are working from his administration, it is their conscious goal, right? They are allowing our border to spiral, and they're creating dangerous conditions, which are not only making this country look weak, but it is subjecting our citizens to a tremendous cost. Not just monetary cost, but also putting their life and liberty at jeopardy. And it's not something that's just happening down at the border. We know illegal immigration is a major issue in the Keystone State in Pennsylvania. It's a big issue down in Delaware. And in my home state, the Garden State, the great state of New Jersey, according to our next guest, it looks like 1 in 10 New Jerseyans is now here illegally, not even supposed to be here. Phil Murphy declared a sanctuary state. His then Attorney General Beer Graywall right, is the one that authored and issued the directive barring local law enforcement from cooperating with federal law enforcement. And now the horror show that you just heard a moment ago in those broadcasts from other states is coming home to roost in New Jersey. There's a real cost for the people of my home state. And at least our next guest is willing to fight back when too few are able and willing to join that fight. He is Assemblyman Paul Kanitra. He represents New Jersey's 10th Legislative District over in Ocean County. He is a former mayor, Point Pleasant Beach, a place where many of us would rather be because it is a gorgeous little spot there along the Atlantic coast. No windmills in sight of Point Pleasant Beach, at least at the moment, Assemblyman. Who knows? Maybe that'll change at some point if Phil Murphy gets his way.
We're fighting that off too, Matt. What's going on, man?
Not much. I appreciate you joining us. I know you're moving and grooving around tonight. You've been spending a lot of time running all over the place. You were just down at the border, which is what brings you to the Matt Rooney Show tonight.
Yeah. And look, I'll tell you, we're talking about Biden beforehand, but the most important thing I learned down at the border is just how much everybody coming across is attracted to sanctuary states and the benefits that we're doling out in places like New Jersey, right? I mean, blue state governors have just as much to do with this as Joe Biden does in a lot of ways.
It's a very fair point because I think sometimes we sitting here in the United States hear about these things in the abstract on the news, and we know what our leaders are doing and messaging to us here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and elsewhere. But the folks that are coming here are learning of these sanctuary state policies. They're very much up on what our blue state leaders are imposing, perhaps more so than your average American citizen is, and it's guiding their own migrant plans, right? That's what you learned when you were down there.
Totally, and that's why you see the massive influx, because in states like New Jersey, every month you hear about some other crazy bill that you would have never imagined could have been passed just a couple of years ago, giving more benefits and, making it safer for people to come here without any repercussions whatsoever. And that's driving all of this, right? I mean, that's what's doing it, and that's why we've had 2 million come across in the past year, and 1 out of every 20 are coming to New Jersey.
1 out of every 20? That's the number?
That's the number, and you were right earlier. 1 out of every 10 residents in New Jersey is an illegal alien. And it's almost incomprehensible. But then when you look to Europe and you look at places like Amsterdam and The Hague and Brussels, they're already over 50% of an immigrant population, and it's coming for us too.
I'm gonna reshare. I had it over on our website, SaveJersey.com, for those of you that haven't checked it out. But I'm gonna tweet this out. This is Assemblyman Kanitra's report on the cost of illegal aliens to New Jerseyans. I like the simplicity of the title because that's what this report explains in stark and in some ways horrifying detail. I mentioned 1 in 10. You affirmed 1 in 10. 892,000 illegal aliens in New Jersey. That is nearly, according to your report, $1,600 for every one of our 4.8 million workers in our state annually. That's $2,100, more than $2,100 for every one of our 3.4 million households in New Jersey per year. This is a multi-billion-dollar problem for New Jersey per year. And it is one that, again, we're going to say it 15 more times before we're done talking tonight. It is not a problem that is happening passively. Democrats like Phil Murphy have invited this problem into our states. And it's not just a border problem, right? You said 1 out of every 20 people crossing, not just Arizona and Texas, they're making their way here.
It's unbelievable. And, we're prioritizing this financially. You talked about the financial side of things. Our budget is $56 billion in New Jersey. It goes up every single year. It's gone up 60% since Governor Christie was in office, just a handful of years. And what all these dollars equate to is $7 billion of our $56 billion budget is going directly or indirectly to illegal immigration. And it's unfathomable. And yet we still can't fund all our schools in New Jersey. I've got 2 schools in my district that are $7 million behind in their budget and $26 million behind in their budget. And looking at class sizes of 1 teacher for every 50 kids, they're looking at laying off 200, 300 teachers and staff. And this is where we're putting our monetary resources?
Not enough resources for our own students. Some school districts in your part of the world are being sued by the Murphy administration as we speak for not following their transgender guidance. And at the same time, and this is in your report, which we'll share this, by 2022, Phil Murphy has given out about 30 million in direct checks to illegal aliens residing in New Jersey. Direct checks. So we're not talking about the indirect economic benefit that you mentioned, Assemblyman. This is hard cash going to people who aren't belonging here because they didn't come here the right way and acting as, and this is the key, a magnet for more illegal behavior. Let me ask you this. We know what you deal with when you go to Trenton on a weekly basis. There's a lot of, as Phil Murphy would say, knuckleheads in that chamber. Have any of them seen your report and maybe commented on it and said, hey, Paul, you know what? I don't always agree with you, but you made some good points there. Maybe there's something we need to investigate or look a little deeper into, or, hey, you opened my eyes. Did you get any positive feedback from your own colleagues?
Look, it's absolutely crazy, and they genuinely do know how nuts it is. You know, we're talking about all the money. There's $15 million in the budget for legal costs for illegal immigrants, simply so that we can pay so they can combat our laws to help them stay here illegally. So they get it. And look, I'm not going to say the name, but I will tell you this story, okay? I had somebody on the other side of the aisle. They were talking with me. We were having a casual conversation about a couple different things, and I told them how I was going down to D.C. for work, and this was three months ago or so. And they said, "Why don't you tell Biden to do something about that damn border while you're down there?" My hand to God, this person told me that. And then they're out there voting yes on every nutty thing that comes across their desk. And, you know, that's why I think the facts and figures of the report were so important. And I will pat myself on the back. That's probably why President Trump quoted the report and a lot of the facts and figures when he was here in New Jersey and Wildwood, because it stands out so starkly. They know how nuts it is, yet they vote for it anyway.
I was thinking the same thing. I don't know how close you got to the center of the circle that day. I'm assuming you were there if you were in Were you at the rally?
I was standing right behind him.
Okay, so I don't know whether it was you that handed it to him or somebody else got it to them, but it's clear that he read it before he took the stage. So that had to be pretty gratifying.
They emailed the office. They asked us to, quantify a couple different things, give them some clarity here and there. And it was too late for us to really realize what was happening. And then we tried to be like, hey, if we could meet him and shake his hand, that would be great too. But then it was crickets. But they got the information they needed, and that's all that matters, Matt.
Well, I was going to say, that's one of the reasons we like you, because there's no pride in authorship. The most important thing for you is that the information got to who it needed to get to. But it's a very important report. We're going to share this again over on X and via social media. And I will tell you, the cost is obviously deeply concerning. The other thing that continues to concern me about this present situation is whether or not only are gang members getting in and human traffickers and some other very bad people, but whether terrorists are taking advantage of this situation. We live in New Jersey in the shadow of September 11th. After New York, no state lost more citizens than the Garden State. And just a couple of days ago, I was reading, Paul, over, I think it was Fox News, about how the Biden administration is once again refusing to reveal the terror watch list nationalities of illegal immigrants that are coming across the border. We know that they've intercepted people that are on these watch lists. They continue to fail to give us, we the people, the information that we deserve about this national security threat. You would think, if nothing else, let's say some of your colleagues in Trenton don't care about the fact that the taxpayers are being bled to pay for illegal immigration. I mean, 9/11 was one of those few things we used to all agree on, that we would never want it to happen again. I mean, but it appears that they're unmoved by this building threat.
It's very sad, because that's accurate. They are unmoved, and that's why you see legislatures across the country protecting illegals who commit multiple crimes, only to put them out there and do more and more heinous things. And I'll tell you this, I spoke with a federal judge down on the border who sees the majority of these criminal cases, and this person told me point blank that, A, it's not a matter of if, but when we experience another 9/11 type event, and B, this individual also told me, like, if you think about it, which was very smart, if you think about it, and you're a terrorist organization, someone who wants to do harm to the U.S., you would almost be negligent in your terrorist duties if you were not sending your fighters and sleeper cell agents across our southern border. I mean, what would even be the point of existing if you weren't sending people across to do us harm right now?
Not wrong. You're not wrong. This is the insanity of the times in which we live. So we're grateful, Assemblyman, that you're attempting to inject at least a little bit of sanity into an insane situation. Assemblyman Paul Kenitra, everyone. He represents New Jersey's 10th legislative district in Trenton. Where can we follow you online if somebody listened to this interview and said, hey, this freshman assemblyman sounds like his head's screwed on correctly. I'd like to keep up with what he's working on.
Well, if they feel so moved, they can follow us on Facebook, Assemblyman Paul Kenitra, Kanitra, on Twitter @VoteKenitra, and we're even playing around with TikTok a little bit, despite all the national security implications of that, because we're finding a large conservative movement there as well. So we're so grateful for what you're doing, trying to amplify some of this insanity, Matt.
I haven't done the TikTok yet. Henry, are you on TikTok?
Big time.
The Chinese already have all of Henry's stuff, so I guess there wouldn't be too much harm. They've got you, bud.
Oh,
He's completely unfazed. Assemblyman, we appreciate you joining us as ever on the Matt Rooney Show. Don't be a stranger, all right?
Of course, Matt. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Assemblyman Paul Kenitra, everyone, of the 10th Legislative District. See, they're not all crazy and useless, Henry.
It's good. It's refreshing.
It is refreshing, right? That's one of the things I try to do in this program. I try to find the ones that, for lack of a more articulate way to put it, don't suck.
Yeah.
And highlight their good works.
You didn't throw any insults at you?
Well, they're allowed to insult me if they want.
Yeah, but he didn't make a comment on your fake lashes.
He didn't make any comments on my fake lashes. Even though I do have this butch blonde. I'm not bleach blonde, though. I don't think I'd look good as a blonde.
I would pay to see that.
I'll do
it too.
I would not. Well, hold on a second. I got to think this through. You said you would do it.
Solidarity.
So is it worth dyeing my hair blonde to see Henry bleach his hair?
I mean, you got that whole lawyer thing. You got to keep up appearances. So I don't know.
That's true. We don't want my clients thinking I'm going through a midlife crisis. All right. Well, I'm gonna think on this during the commercial break. I think we have to go to commercial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a break, and I will contemplate this as we play some ads to make some money and fill Greg Stocker's coffers. Back on the Matt Rooney Show in a moment.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
We're only 9 weeks away from the Bend to the Shore bike tour. It's
What?
coming back again.
Oh, no.
It's time to start revving it up. We're going to have Team 1210 again. I'm looking forward to it. The guy who trained me last year, the great Dave Madden, sent me a text yesterday. I told him right after Memorial Day, we'll start training again. We'll get about a 4 to 6 week training camp in. The only question is, will the debates go off or will Stocker get on the bike and do the 65 miles?
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You don't want to miss out on the memorial sale at Rescue Natural Supplements going on now with prices rising across the country. Rescue is rolling back pricing to the year 2010. Plus, enjoy their fantastic 2 bottles, get 1 free, and buy 3 bottles, get 2 free memorial deals. Stock up on your favorites. Save big with Rescue rollback pricing and generous free bottle offers, whether you're in need of 1250 omega-3s, cholesterol supporters, probiotics, or natural pain relief. Everything is on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE. That's 800-262-5483 and speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Don't miss this opportunity for huge savings on over 50 Rescue products to tackle your health goals. Remember, 2010 rollback prices and the memorial deals are going on now through May 30th. So go shop res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Do it today.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Morning. Oh, hey neighbor. Sorry for the banging. We're remodeling our kitchen. And sorry for the dust. New patio and landscaping going in.
Wow. Are you growing money in your backyard?
No. We get a home equity loan from First Harvest Credit Union with an affordable payment. They offer flexible terms, great rates, and less fees. You can say First Harvest is helping us grow our house.
First Harvest Credit Union. A better place to grow. Visit firstharvestcu.com or your nearest branch for more info. Membership restrictions apply. Equal housing lender insured by NCUA.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Well, we have a winner of X for the weekend. Stephen Lloyd over on X. Apparently Steve is the handle name. That was fast. And there is a MSNBC Photoshop graphic of Stacey Abrams being projected as the winner of the election for president of Iran.
I mean, she probably put enough money towards it.
I'm sure. So there you go. Already won. She was bound to win something eventually when you're constantly running. I mean, it's just math, right? What a clown. That's great. All right. So coming down the home stretch of our numero dos, but don't worry, they give us 3 hours here on 1210 WPHT. So we've got more ahead. We still have to get Robin Schaefer on. We're going to make that happen from Protect Our Coast, New Jersey. We have so much going on here on the program. It's tough. It's tough to fit everything in, but we're going to make it happen because we want to tell you about the rally coming up this upcoming weekend, Memorial Day weekend, down at the Jersey Shore. Can I share with you before the end of the hour one of my pet peeves? It's what we do for 3 hours here, talk about my pet peeves. Regular listeners know this. Memorial Day is not Veterans Day. There's a difference. Okay? Memorial Day, we remember people that died defending this country, protecting our liberty, candidly making it possible so we can not only enjoy the American dream and all the good things about this country, but hey, let's give you a tangible example. But for the sacrifices of these men and women over the course of decades, right? There'd be no 1210 WPHT. You wouldn't have this radio show. In much of the rest of the world, what we are doing right now, Henry and I, is illegal. It's illegal. You can't do this in China, right? You couldn't do this throughout most of human history, even if the technology existed, right? Without fear of imprisonment for criticizing those in power. I mean, that is the miraculous thing about the time and space in which we live, that we are in a society where I can go on the airwaves and I can call the President of the United States, who is essentially a king for a limited period of time, for 4 years, right? It's a limited monarchy, but it's still a monarchy of a kind. I can go on here and I can criticize King Joe, say that he's stupid, that he's old, that he smells, that he's incompetent and incontinent without fear of prosecution. Now, of course, that may be about to change because we see what they're doing to Donald Trump and his inner ring of supporters. Rudy Giuliani just got served with another subpoena over the weekend, or I should say he got served with another indictment, while at his 80th birthday party. That's how cutthroat these people are.
It's a hell of a present.
It's a heck of a present.
Did they even wrap it?
I mean, if you're going to do it, then you should just go all the way, right?
Yeah.
Maybe have somebody jump out of a cake with it.
I was just about to
right?
say that. Have him jump out of the cake, hand him like a manila letter, and be like, "You've been served."
But the Rudy stuff really drives me nuts, right? Like, not that Rudy hasn't gotten a little wacky in recent years, but like, here's a guy who, regardless of what you think of him since 2020, he helped this country pull itself together in the wake of 9/11. We were talking about September 11th a minute ago. He also turned around New York City. Now, of course, the leftists that presently run the city are taking it right back into the dumpster. But, I mean, for those of us that are old enough to remember, do you remember what New York was like before Rudy Giuliani? Go watch Batman 1989, right? Gotham City. That's what it was based on. It's a hot mess before Rudy. So I almost feel like Rudy deserves a little bit of deference for all the good that he's done. Breaking the New York mob, right? Turning that great city around. All of his service to the country in the wake of 9/11. I mean, does he deserve how he's being treated here? So they're doing the best they can to try to turn us into the kind of place, right, where what we do here is illegal, but we're not quite there yet, and we owe that to those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Now, we are going to have Veterans Day, right, which is broader because we thank all of those who serve, regardless of whether they've given their lives in service to this country. Right, so I'm not suggesting that you should be shouted down if you say thank you for your service to a living veteran on Memorial Day, right? We're not leftists, right? We're not constantly triggered by innocent misspeaking or something like that. But if you care about the things we're talking about here, it's important to remember that there is individual symbolism to each individual holiday. That's all I'm saying. Only point I'm trying to make. Fair enough, Henry?
Yeah, very eloquently put. I will never say thank you for your service to any service member on Memorial Day weekend ever again.
That's not the point that I'm making, Henry. Folks, I do the best I can. I do the best I can.
But no, I totally get what you're saying. It's literally in the name, Memorial Day. We're memorializing.
It's in the name. It's in the name. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the station. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. If you want to go ahead and check us out online, you can also follow along. Actually, I don't think we have the video up on my Twitter page today.
No, this new software is still hammering out kind of
figuring it out.
Yeah.
So maybe next week. We will be here on Memorial Day weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
So for those of you, regardless of whether you're traveling or not, if you're down at the shore, if you listen to NJ.com and you went to Rehoboth because you want to catch a glimpse of Joe Biden, right? Enjoy that LGBTQ-friendly environment that the Star Ledger's crowing about. Regardless of where you are, you will be able to listen to Henry and yours truly next weekend. And we probably will talk about Memorial Day itself, too, because we love the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the sun, the fun, but it's about a little bit more than that, right? But for now, as I said, 1 hour left to go this evening. So quick timeout to play some ads and make a little more scratch, and then we'll be back for the final hour of tonight's Matt Rooney Show in a moment. Don't move a muscle.
Dom Giordano.
Representative Matt Gaetz, welcome back to Philadelphia. Question from my producer. I didn't egg it on. You are one of the great congresspeople when it comes to hair.
I have a little bit of the blow dry, a little bit of pomade, and then the secret ingredient is at the end, I sprinkle on Kevin McCarthy's tears. And if you use that at just the right moment, you get the elevation.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
We gathered real Pennsylvania seniors and asked them how they would benefit from an extra $1,000. Here's what they had to say.
Everything is so expensive these days.
Car expenses, repairs,
My groceries, heating costs.
medications. Sure, I could easily spend $1,000 like that.
Through Pennsylvania's property tax rent rebate program, eligible seniors and adults with disabilities could receive up to $1,000. Check your eligibility and apply online. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400. Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
I don't know what's better, the testimony we're getting out of this Trump hush money trial or the media's attempt to try to report on this as if it's a serious thing. I know it's the Wall Street Journal, but the Wall Street Journal is not always the Trumpiest publication. Earlier today, a Trump conviction depends on proving more than a hush money cover-up. Prosecution's case hangs on an alleged second crime that hasn't yet been spelled out for the jury. Can I demystify that for you? Can I translate it? They're trying to prosecute him for something that isn't illegal. I mean, they do that all the time in North Korea. You can go to jail for 20 years, get hard labor for pulling down a poster. Not traditionally something we do in this country. Welcome to 2024. Welcome to Joe Biden's dystopian hellscape. Trump is a tough guy, by the way. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I opened up tonight's Matt Rooney show. Welcome back, everyone, by the way, to tonight's program for our numero trace of Trace. I mentioned earlier in the program, I was at Trump's rally in Wildwood 2 weeks ago. I mean, how many of you, forget about even the age thing for a second, because Trump's not a spring chicken. How many of you could sit in a courtroom all week where you're being threatened with contempt of court, jail time, being slandered, lied about, drugged through the mud, threatened with all manner of punishment, could deal with that, keep your chin held high, and then head out at night or on the weekend and speak to tens of thousands of people live for 90 minutes at a shot, make perfect sense, and make it look effortless? I mean, how many people can do that? We know Joe Biden can't do that. Simply ambulating from his bed to the toilet takes a tremendous effort by the current president of the United States, the incumbent. I couldn't do it. I don't think I could. But Trump manages to do it. He's a tough, tough guy. And it's part of the reason why my money's on him somehow getting through all this, because when you're going through hell, the only way to deal with it is to keep on going. And I think the example he is setting is not only an important one for our country, but it's indicative of how tough he is and his ability to withstand everything they are throwing at him. I admire the man more than I did in 2016. Some of you that have been following me for a long time over on Save Jersey before I was on 1210. Like many conservatives, I wasn't always a fan of the guy because, I knew he was rich. I knew he was of the entertainment world, right? He had his reality television show. I knew that he had donated to Democrats and had changed his position on a number of things in the past. And I was dubious as to whether or not, if he made it to the Oval Office, he would be a true ally for the cause of limited government and turning this country around and detaching the deep state from its deep control that it has of almost every lever of authority in this country. And sure enough, I mean, he's done more than Reagan in some ways to enact conservative reform. So he made a believer out of me, and I have more respect for him today than I did when this odyssey began and he initially rode down the golden escalator. You may agree, you may not, but guess what? It's my show. So them's the shakes. 855-839-1210 is the number here in the program. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Make sure to give us a like. We got a lot to do this hour, but before we get to the rest, I want to bring up something very important. I wanted to get to it at the end of last hour, but we ran out of time, and we've got more advertisers all the time around here, so we gotta make that money, Henry. Right? Henry ain't free. He ain't cheap. He's not coming here to do this just because he enjoys hanging out with me.
Well, partially.
Well, you don't hate it.
I enjoy this show.
But would you come here for free to hang out with me?
No.
Exactly. That's the only point that I'm making. It's the only point that I'm making. But our next guest is someone who many people choose to hang out with for free because he is in the trenches fighting against the attempt to industrialize our New Jersey coast, right? You're very familiar, especially if you are a follower of my website, SaveJersey.com, or you're a regular listener of 1210 WPHT, that the Murphy administration has continued to attempt to erect offshore wind turbines very near to the coast of New Jersey, which kill whales, kill dolphins, right, with the sonar exploration that is necessary to put these things together near some of our favorite iconic beach resorts. But they are going to destroy the character of our coast, right? They're going to have a negative impact on tourism. They're going to be a blight on one of the best things about the Garden State. So, as I said, one of the folks leading this fight is our next guest. His name is Robin Schaefer, and he is the president of Protect Our Coast, New Jersey. If you haven't heard of him, I suspect you probably have visited his website or his Facebook page or seen people sharing protectourcoastnj.com on social media over the course of the past few months. Robin, thanks for joining us on the Matt Rooney Show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all you do with your show and with Save Jersey. We work with Jonathan Lesser from time to time, and I know that he has published quite a bit on Save Jersey before, and he makes the economic case easy for us because this is just this green swindle that the Murphy administration and the Biden administration are pushing on people is in many ways it's about economics. I mean, it's about destroying people's pocketbooks and people's small businesses and the fishing industry and all of that.
No, you nailed it. And Dr. Jonathan Lesser, you're right. He's written for SaveJersey.com. We've had him on this show plenty of times. I like to say he's the conservative Bill Nye, except unlike Bill Nye, he actually knows what he's talking about. He dissects this green energy nonsense that's being advanced by the Murphy administration. But listen, it's a mutual admiration society here. I appreciate all the nice things you said, but your organization's been prolific. And the reason I asked you to come on tonight, besides the fact that I'm happy to finally get to meet you, albeit remotely, is that you have a big rally planned for Memorial Day weekend down in Ocean City. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Protect Our Coast, New Jersey is having our second annual Stop Offshore Wind Rally in Ocean City. It's across from City Hall this coming Saturday, May 25th at 9:30 a.m. And we're expecting a big turnout, maybe just a smidge less than the 100,000 that were at the Trump rally. But, if they show up, we'll find a place for them. But
wouldn't that be something?
That would. I mean, there is so much buzz going on in Cape May County after that rally last week. I have to tell you, from being in the audience, I could not have been more happy. And we met so many great people. We were volunteering at the event, wearing our Protect Our Coast gear, and people came up to us and just, were thanking us. These are people from Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, all over the place. And then there was a certain number of people who were saying, well, we didn't think that this was still going on. We thought you guys beat it last year. Well, the truth is we didn't. I mean, we had a big win when Ørsted stepped out, but Ørsted still owns the leases just about 10, 15 miles offshore, and Atlantic Shores is planning, this is a big offshore wind industrial development that's going a mere 8 miles offshore of Long Beach Island, and they're full steam ahead. So we are fighting tooth and nail to try to keep this from happening because we know what it's going to do to small businesses along the coast. We know what it's going to do to the fishing industry. We know from all the whales that are washing up that this is bad for New Jersey. This is bad for the environment. And the only reason the environmental groups are behind it is because of all the money that has been thrown at them by the Murphy administration and Biden administration.
It's a big, 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 big industry. I think that's what people tied up in this. Lots of rich leftists that are trying to get wealthy off of the taxpayers of our state and neighboring states. It's a dirty business, and it couldn't be more important to continue to stand up for the Jersey Shore because we care about it, right? Whether you work in Cape May County as I do, you live there, you just love the beach. It's a place you go once a year, right? You have an annual trip down to the boardwalk to have some time on the boards, on the sand, meet up with family. It's part of your tradition, regardless of what your attachment is. It's a place that's under threat. And as Robin says very, very accurately, the Murphy administration and the Biden administration have not given up on this project. Ørsted pulling up stakes was a battle won. It was not the war won. So we have to keep up the pressure. Where do people meet up for this rally, Robin, if they're going to be down there this weekend? Or maybe they're not and they want to take the trip. Where do they join up?
So we're going to start the rally at 9:30 a.m. at the park across from City Hall in Ocean City. It's Mark Swayfer Park. And we have just a fantastic lineup of speakers for the event on Saturday. We have former gubernatorial candidate and actually current gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli confirmed. New Jersey Senate candidate Curtis Bashaw is going to be in attendance. We have the CEO of Icona Resorts, Eustace Mita. We have Michael Donahue, who is chairman of the Cape May GOP, and he's also had a long track record in in the law. He filed lawsuits against offshore wind, and he's also a former judge from Cape May County. We've sent invites also. We're hoping that Congressman Jeff Van Drew will be back this year. He attended last year's event, and it's going to be a phenomenal event. After we meet in the park, then we are going to walk the 9th Street Bridge. We're encouraging people to come and bring their signs, bring their enthusiasm, bring their energy, because this fight is, as you mentioned, is far from over. This is a war, and the thing that's happening, what we've noticed is that the governor and president seem to be accelerating their plans. It's almost like they realize that in November there might be a big change coming.
Is there something going on in November, Henry? Do we have anything big coming up? Anything happening?
I don't know.
Yeah,
can't see that far on my calendar.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's late. It's late in the East Coast here. Maybe it's just getting a little fuzzy. No, I think you're right. I think Governor Murphy, King Philip the Unaccountables, our friend Rich Zioli says here at the station. I think after his wife got her rear end handed to her in that U.S. Senate primary, he's more of a lame duck than he was before. The Biden administration obviously concerned that it's not getting another 4 years. I think these coming months are critical for the movement that is attempting to stop the industrialization of our coast. Where do we find your organization online, even if we can't make it down there this weekend, so people can support you?
Oh, thanks. People can go to protectourcoastnj.com, protectourcoastnj.com. They could also find us on Twitter at njcoast_protect and go to our Facebook page. It's really imperative that people get involved. They learn more about the issue, and if they want to contribute, if they want to support us, we're a grassroots organization, and literally every penny counts. So we thank everybody for their support, and we hope to see all of your listeners and as many people as can jam into the park as possible to come on out on Saturday.
Trump Rally Part 2, folks. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Robin Schaefer, greatly appreciate you joining us on 1210 WPHT and the Matt Rooney Show. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Be well, my friend. You're listening to the Matt Rooney Show. When we come back from our next break, the one, the only Dan Cerrucci helping us break down the latest 2024 headlines, as he always does when he joins us on the program. But also, we're going to talk about the Pope tonight because we love touching third rails here on the program, Henry. That's what we do. We don't shy away from controversy. That and much, much more here on the Matt Rooney Show when we return in just a second.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
The ride is July 21st. Yeah. I believe we will hit 20 grand before the 4th of July holiday. This might happen by Father's Day, to be honest. Last year, once I did the ride and I finished it, I wanted to be on the air the next day to brag and prove that I could do it. Now that I've done that, I think I'm going to stay down in Atlantic City this year and just crash for the night at a hotel.
Are you?
Yeah, I might take a day off the next day.
It ends in Atlantic City. Maybe there's an AC sponsorship. You could spend the night and broadcast from there.
We could broadcast in a casino at 6 a.m.
You're just filled with ideas today.
I'll be at the sales meeting next Tuesday.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Store closing. Turn 7. Liquidators for the 10 largest online retailers in the country lost our lease and must vacate and liquidate to the bare walls immediately. Turn 7. Both locations must liquidate. Philadelphia Mills, Moorestown Mall. Turn 7. Liquidations.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. You've heard me talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding, how much I love my new patio doors. You know by now, if I needed windows, doors, or siding, I'd only trust the Chapman team. If you're thinking of updating your current siding or removing your current stucco and replacing it with siding, think Chapman. With the new updated siding choices available, the curb appeal of your home will pop. If you currently have stucco, updating it with James Hardy plank or vinyl siding will truly add value to your home. If you're looking to sell, you can bet buyers will value updated new siding. And right now would be a good time to get ahead of the ball and plan your siding project for 2024. The certified certified Chapman installers are the folks you want on the job. If you or someone you know are looking for windows, doors, siding, stucco remediation, shutters, or hardware, give them a call or text them 610-431-8898, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Chapman, the name I trust. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Back as promised on the Matt Rooney Show. I always keep my promises. 855-839-1210 over on YouTube, youtube.com/at 1210 WPHT. Third and final guest. He is a PR expert. He is a commentator extraordinaire. Everything from politics to Broadway and what lies in between, and we're happy to have him as a regular collaborator, not just over at my website, SaveJersey.com, but of course here on the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. He is the proprietor of DanCerrucci.com and a good friend of mine, Dan Cerrucci. Welcome back to the program, sir. Good evening.
Thank you, Matt. It's great to be with you as always, and thank you for your kind words as always. The feeling is mutual.
It's a mutual admiration society, like I just said to Robin Schaefer, who heads the Protect Our Coast organization. I'm betting they're going to get a pretty good turnout this weekend down in Ocean City.
I certainly hope so. I think it's so important. It's so vital. And anybody who loves the Jersey Shore as I do, and you know, we're very, very fortunate. 1 hour, I'm down at the beach, and I'm sitting there, and who the hell wants to look out over a bunch of windmills or whatever the hell they call them? Please.
Yeah, it's there's no argument for them. That's what I always come back to. If they killed whales and dolphins and made my trip to the beach, made the scenery a little less appealing, I still might say, okay, if they worked and they generated a ton of energy for the people in New Jersey and could dramatically reduce senior citizens' electricity bills, again, there might be an argument for it, but we all know that's not how this works. In many cases, they're going to derive more energy to bring about than they're actually ever going to generate. So definitely, folks, check it out down there this weekend if you happen to be at the Jersey Shore. But down to business here, Dan. I want to try to talk about a couple different things, but the main reason I asked you to come on, you have an article over at DanCerrucci.com about one of the big stories over the course of the weekend. We know that Pope Francis is, despite the fact that he is, chosen the name of a renowned peacemaker, St. Francis. He's a rather nasty guy who has very strong and apparently vindictive feelings towards large numbers of Catholics, arguably a majority of Catholics in this country that are fairly conservative and have deep concerns about his stewardship of the church. And I think we have to cut, Henry, if we can give everybody a little bit of context in case you missed it. This is cut number 9. This is an interview that Pope Francis gave with, I think it was Norah O'Donnell over on 60 Minutes. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, I believe so.
Listen to this.
There are conservative bishops in the United States
that oppose your new efforts to revisit teachings and traditions. How do you address their criticism?
You used an adjective, conservative. That is, conservative is one who clings to something and does not want to see beyond that. It is a suicidal attitude. Because one thing is to take tradition into account, to consider situations from the past, but quite another is to be closed up inside a dogmatic box.
So I guess we're stuck in a dogmatic box, Dan?
This whole thing is absolutely ridiculous, and I'll tell you what's the first mistake here, and this is why you always have to watch the language, Matt, because this is how so-called liberals, progressives advance, and that is by changing or misusing the language. She asked him about conservative American Catholics. That is the wrong term. What we're talking about here, and let's go back to the Supreme Court and Justice Scalia. He didn't call himself a conservative. He called himself an originalist. He went back to the original language of the Constitution and the original interpretation. The Catholics that she is asking about and talking about are people, they're traditional Catholics that want to go back to original Catholicism as it is originally laid down in Catholic teaching. It was what's called the magisterium of the church, the teaching of the church. Now, the Pope comes back, and I think he made, it pains me to say this. I always, having been brought up as a Catholic, I hesitate again and again to go after the Pope or criticize the Pope.
I get it. I was an altar boy. It doesn't come second nature, but this guy brings it out on us because we do care about our faith. Regardless of what your faith is, listening to this program tonight, presumably you feel passionate about what you believe. If you're a Protestant, if you're Jewish. And I mean, this guy is, to your point, and I want to divert us from what you were about to say, but I mean, he's constantly attacking the values of the institution he purports to lead. But in any event, continue.
He says that these people are suicidal. He called them suicidal.
Yeah.
Imagine, in the Catholic Church, suicide is a grave sin.
Yeah.
Grave sin.
Very loaded term.
Yes. And accuses them of being, quote, closed up inside of a dogmatic box. Now, when I saw that phrase and I saw the word dogmatic, I said, wait a minute, the Pope is accusing someone of being dogmatic? Well, wait a minute. Isn't the teaching of the church called the dogma of the church?
Right. It'd be like saying to a Supreme Court justice, why are you so obsessed with the Constitution? Why are you always fixated on what the Constitution says? That's kind of the point, to interpret the Constitution.
But I wanted to be certain, Matt. So I went to the Oxford English Dictionary, and it defines dogma as, quote, a principle or set of principles laid down by an authority as incontrovertibly true. So, therefore, dogma is the teaching of the church, the beliefs of the church as laid down by the church itself.
Right.
Okay? So, in other words, the Pope is saying that those of us who follow the faith strictly, those who try to follow the faith strictly, are closed up inside a box. Well, yes, when you accept the Catholic faith, you enter that box, the box of the faith. You are one of the faithful. That is what the Pope is supposed to be espousing. And that's exactly what he is criticizing and taking on.
And
this is bizarre. It's bizarre. It makes no sense.
And in doing so, and I think this is one of the many ironies of this situation, he says that people that are conservative, right? His definition, how he defines it, are in this dogmatic box, but it almost seems as if it's his ideology that's getting in the way of coherence, right? Like,
well,
so
exactly. He himself has turned out to be an ideologue.
Right.
He's turned out to be intractable. He's turned out to be incredibly, shockingly stubborn.
Yep.
And, like you said, vindictive and not very understanding of the people who are coming to him and saying I think they're trying to be very respectful. And they're saying, well, wait a minute. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Now,
one of the things that always set the Catholicism apart for me, and I don't want to shove Catholicism down anybody's throat. That's not my intention. But we talk about the marriage of faith and reason, right? He is very much divorced from the whole reason part. And one of the things that and speaking of incoherence, Dan, which I referenced a minute ago, I grew up during the era of John Paul II, right? That's the Pope that I remember as a child, and many people, had the same experience because he was Pope for so long. He had a very long reign. And the thing that stuck out to me from John Paul's reign was moral clarity, right? This is the Pope who, along with President Reagan and Margaret Thatcher and some other very brave Western leaders, stared down communism. That Pope literally stared down communism in Eastern Europe. And John Paul always stopped short of endorsing any particular political strain of thought, right? Because that's not really your job as Pope. But he was never ambiguous in condemning Soviet communism.
Right.
This Pope can't do that because of his wacky leftist worldview. And during that interview with Norah O'Donnell, one of the things that jumped out at me is when she was talking to him about the children in Gaza, right, that were suffering in the midst of this war. She also asked him, do you have a message for Vladimir Putin when it comes to Ukraine? He said, please, warring countries, all of them stop. Stop the war. You must find a way of negotiating for peace. Strive for peace. A negotiated peace is always better than endless war. Can you imagine John Paul II, John Paul the Great, saying that to Eastern Europeans living under the Iron Curtain? Listen, guys, I know you want your freedom, but anything's better than conflict. Cut a deal with the Kremlin. Like, goodness gracious. Yeah. Like, our Pope, our shepherd, Dan, is a morally bankrupt man.
Well, this is the same Pope who cut deals with China, okay, where prior to him, the Catholic Church was standing firm against the Chinese dictatorship, and now he's cut deals with them and really has betrayed the really faithful Catholics that were there, and we're hoping that the church would stand firm. Look, one of the things you look for in embracing a religion or religious doctrine, okay, is, as you said, number one, moral clarity, right? You look for consistency. You look for consistency and firmness in those endeavors. Now, I want to make this clear. I do not hold myself out as a model Catholic by any stretch of the imagination. Okay,
I'm right there with you.
I really stopped going to Mass regularly because I became so disenchanted with what's called, Catholic light.
Yeah.
So I do not hold myself out by any means as a paragon. I'm a sinner like everybody else. But this is not what I'm looking for when I seek salvation and forgiveness. I look for the church at the very least to set guide rails for me in my life, at the very least to provide guide rails so that when I know I'm going too far afield, I know it because of the teachings of the church. But this is a pope who started his papacy by saying, "Who am I to judge?" Well, my goodness, if the pope is not going to judge.
It's your job, bud. It's your job.
I mean, this is the guy who is the successor to St. Peter himself. You know, and as our friend, our dear friend Christine Flowers has pointed out, St. Peter was to be, the rock of the church, not the sponge of the church, the rock.
Well, I think this is a point that a lot of people have trouble with. And even, let's take religion out of it for a second. My generation in particular doesn't like when people are judgmental. Henry probably would agree with me on this, that being judgmental is one of the worst things you can be. Worse than being wrong, right? Because we're taught now that wrong is a subjective thing in most contexts. But there's a difference between being judgmental and discerning and having standards and condemning someone, right? And I think that's where people get confused. Me saying that behavior is wrong, that person is wrong, doesn't mean that I'm saying that person has no worth and is condemned to hell. That's not my role. That's not my job. I have no place saying that, right? But back to the very beginning of what you're talking about, Dan, right? Like this is one of the problems with this Pope. Language matters. Language matters, and he's warping the term judgmental here to serve his wacky far-left purposes. And it's having an effect on church attendance. Catholic church attendance is down under Pope Francis. And I was looking at some Gallup data earlier today, Dan, when I knew we were going to have you on. Right. Only 23% of those who identify as Catholic now go to church weekly. Okay?
It's very, very sad.
That's worse than self-identified Muslims, Protestants, Mormons, almost every other major religious sect or denomination functioning in the United States today. It's a crisis.
I really think that people are thirsting for guidance. And, if you have no fear of being condemned for something by some moral authority that you accept and believe in, then what's the purpose? What's the reason for religion?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
religion's supposed to ground you. It's supposed to give you a center. I always say, to me, religion is kind of like exercise, right? Some people need it more than others. Different types of exercise work better for one person than they might for another person. But the important thing is to figure out what works for you and to do it, because it's critical to your overall health to be grounded in something deeper and bigger and higher than you. And Francis seems to be stripping that out of Catholicism on a nearly daily basis. Well, I'm kind of depressed.
And there's a trade-off for being forgiven. Yeah. I mean, we all believe in salvation. We all believe in forgiveness. Yeah. Those of us who are Christian believe that Christ forgives. But there's a trade-off in being forgiven. Any Catholic who's ever gone to confession knows this. Yes, you are forgiven, but now we want you to change your ways, change your direction, so that, you don't have to come here again and again and keep confessing the same or worse sins. I mean, there's a trade-off to it. There's this. You have to enter into the deal, the bargain here that goes on here. It isn't just, well, you're forgiven, now go out and do something worse, and I'll be here when you do come back.
Now, Dan, before I let you go, I have to touch on 2024.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm talking to Dan Cerrucci. If you want to read more of his thoughts on Pope Francis or anything else political, head over to dancerrucci.com. We had the rally in Wildwood 2 weeks ago, which was something else. Flash forward today, Biden goes to Morehouse College to give a speech, a graduation. He has students turning their back on him. I don't know if you heard any of the clips. I don't think we have time to get to them tonight, but I mean, it's what we've come to expect of Biden, right? At times he is barely coherent, lots of race baiting, very incendiary rhetoric, pandering. If I was a young black graduate at that graduation, I would be thinking to myself, who is this old white guy coming in here? You know what I mean? Talking down to me, right? Like, it's so condescending and obnoxious. It's no wonder, really, assuming these polls are correct, that non-white voters, especially young black men, are saying, you know what? Like, what are we doing here? What are we getting out of this? I mean, here's my question for you. Do you think, based upon your observation of what's happening right now out there in the body politic, do you think these polls are accurate? Do you think something's happening out there that we haven't seen since the 60s, right? When Republicans competed seriously for the black vote in this country.
Well, I want to believe this, and I've spoken to young black men, and I do see among younger black men a significant amount of support for empathy with Trump, especially since he seemed to get on the wrong side of the law, because there's an identity factor here that they feel, you see, he understands, he has been affected by it as we have, that the justice system isn't fair. It isn't fair. However,
it's an interesting point.
Yes. However, I always temper this, as with any group that has for decades voted Democrat, and I include several different groups in this that have been traditionally Democrat. As you get closer to the election, they always seem to fall back into line. And Biden and his cohorts, the Obamas, and all these other race baiters will be out there, Matt. They will be out there with such intensity. They will
shame people.
Absolutely. They will pull out every stop as you get into the home stretch. And I'm also worried about the debates. I'm worried about the debates because in this bargain that Biden reached with Trump, Biden pretty much got exactly what he wants. A limited number of debates on the major networks with anchors that are lean towards him, and no debates after September. And the other factor here is that the record has shown that Trump is overconfident going into debates. He doesn't always accept or remember the advice he's given from very fine people who coach him. His last round of debates with Biden, he talked over Biden, where if he had just shut up and let Biden talk, it would have become apparent that Biden was not coherent, that he was losing it, and that he didn't know what he was talking about. But Trump effectively saved him. So I'm very worried about the debates for the reasons I've just expressed.
The first one's coming up quickly too, June 27th.
That's right. CNN, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly. And on CNN, okay, with Jake Tapper, This is exactly what Biden wanted. But see, Trump is so confident. He's so confident. Oh, Jake Tapper, I can handle him. No. Don't be so sure. So I'm telling all of your listeners and all of those people who support President Trump or think they may be supporting President Trump, don't take anything for granted.
We cannot. And those are all excellent points. And I've thought, do you interrupt your enemy when he's in the middle of destroying himself, right? So as much as we all want to see Biden have to debate, Dan Cerrucci, everyone, of dancerrucci.com. If you didn't know it before, you know it now. This is why He is one of our favorites. Commentary without parallel. And Dan, I'm not going to say see you soon because we know we're going to drag you back sooner rather than later to talk about 2024 and much more. Maybe, hey, we'll even criticize the Pope again on a Sunday, being the rebel Catholics that we are. Someone has to do it, Dan. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about it. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you, Matt.
One more break this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Matt Rooney Show in a second.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Do you know when the best time to buy investment properties is? It's now. It's always now. You just need to learn how to buy them correctly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night and learn how to buy investment properties and make money every time. That's right. That's what we teach. We teach how to buy investment properties and make money every time. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now. Take a class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Don't go through life ignorant about how to become a millionaire. Learn how to invest in real estate, the stock market, precious metals, and learn from an expert. At Investor Schooling, we teach these things and more. We only provide education, and we will teach you how to leverage real estate, how to leverage the stock market, and how to leverage precious metals to make more money than you've ever made before. Go to investorschooling.com and take a complimentary class this Thursday. We will see you there. investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com.
The Honda you want is here. Get a great offer on the stylish HR-V or the Honda Civic, which Car and Driver called fun to drive. There has never been a better time to drive in the moment with Honda, the brand named Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand for 2023.
See dealer for financing details. Car and Driver, January 2023, based on 2023 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. As a Main Street bank, PNC strives to put our clients and the communities we serve at the center of everything we do. Our local leadership teams provide the knowledge needed to be able to deliver effective strategic solutions tailored for your business. We're proud to be part of the Philadelphia, Delaware, and Southern New Jersey communities. See how we can make a difference for your business at pnc.com/CIB. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
Hey Philly, it's Ike Reese. In the city of brotherly love, the only thing we love more than our teams is great savings. And with unlimited welcome from Verizon, you can save big, even if you're on a single line. For a limited time, single lines start at just $50 a month when you bring your own phone. With auto pay plus taxes and fees, that's a savings of $15 a month. And when you switch, now you can save on the things you love, like Netflix and Max, all on the most awarded 5G network. Now that's a real win. There's never been a better time to switch to the network America relies on. But this offer won't last long. Visit your local Verizon store to switch and save big today.
$180 BYOD promo credit and $360 local promo credit applied over 36 months. For new customers with one line on your own 4G, 5G phone on unlimited welcome plan required. Additional terms apply. Auto pay and paper-free billing required. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. $10 a month for each My Plan perk. Additional terms and conditions apply per perk.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Calling on Levittown. Hello there. To follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Say it ain't so, Henry.
It goes by too fast.
It does. Teardrop.
One single tear.
One single tear. I feel a little less bad about it this week, though, only because I am so flipping excited for summer. Memorial Day weekend has already arrived, right? It is arriving in a matter of days. And that is awesome, right?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have a really fun summer. Both outside of the studio and in the studio. We've got a lot of great stuff planned.
Most of the time outside the studio. Ideally.
You're such a joy.
I want to have fun here. Don't get me wrong.
But you'd like to have most of your fun not with me.
I'm just saying here. You're only here once a week. I'm here.
That's true.
Most of the week.
That's true. Your purgatory lasts longer than mine, my friend. And we'll have plenty to talk about this summer, as you can well imagine. I can't even get to everything that I want to talk about in one show. I'm going to share this article that I had in my stack tonight from foreignpolicy.com. If you weren't depressed already from everything we meandered around tonight, the U.S. Navy can't build ships.
That's a new one. That seems problematic as well.
Problematic would be the word for it, right? At a time when China is on the march, we're sending billions to Ukraine. Our industrial capacity has left it such that the Navy can't produce the ships it needs to stay competitive. So that's a happy thought to end your Sunday evening. But listen, it should motivate you. It shouldn't depress you, right, Henry? I mean, it should motivate you to action, as Dan Cerrucci said in the last segment.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you just pull like an inverse, like ABC News there. You just talk about, nothing but horror shows for, a half hour. And then at the end of the show, they go, and finally, America's strong. And they end on like a light note. And you're just like, yeah, and our Navy can't build anything anymore.
You're right. I should say, and now to round out the program, here is video of Henry playing with puppies. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I give it to you straight because I respect you. I know that you don't need it. You don't need it sugar-coated. So, there we are. By the way, I got to call somebody out here. Mangle Mush, one of our regulars over in YouTube, late again this week, said he was binge-watching Dexter. So you were late for today's class because you were watching a series about a fake serial killer. Come on, Mangle Mush. Although the early seasons of Dexter were kind of interesting.
Yeah, I never really got into that show.
I mean, it was one of those things where it was a very interesting concept, obviously.
Yeah.
Kind of a serial killer that
is a cop.
Had some kind of Dark Knight, Batman kind of code.
Yeah.
Where he only killed other serial killers. It was an interesting concept, a little ghoulish and morbid and whatever, but so come on, Mangle Mush. We got to do better here. We will be here next weekend. I already said that, but I'll say it again for Memorial Day weekend. The show will go on. I probably have a couple times I have to take off later in the summer, so I don't want to adjourn class any more than necessary in the coming weeks. So we've got a lot to talk about. We've got this presidential debate coming up in June. We've got the New Jersey primary. So much to cover, and we as ever will endeavor to do the job that we do, which we think we have an excellent product here on the Matt Rooney Show. But for now, I want to thank everyone that listened. I want to thank everybody that watched. I want to thank producer Henry for everything that you do. We will be back here next week. Make sure you stay tuned for Walter Sterling, who's coming up at the end of this program. But for now, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it.
Kale & Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
We're only